Stretching from Tijuana in the north to Tierra del Fuego in the south, Latin America is a vast region of 600 million people with diverse cultures and unique identities, but with shared challenges. This region is crucial for global food production and boasts vital resources for the green energy transition. In recent years, ties with China have deepened. I travel to the region's three largest economies, Brazil, Mexico and Argentina, to see how trade, sustainable food production and green energy development are impacting the region. My journey starts in the south of the continent in Buenos Aires, the furthest capital city in the world from Beijing. Argentina may be best known for the tango, its stunning geography, its wine, its economic troubles, and for Lionel Messi. But I wanted to find out about this country's curious national drink called mate.
Most of the people relate this with green tea or black tea, but it's like the first thing that reminds them, okay, when they are drinking the yerba mate.
Ariel Lacha has carved out a reputation as a specialist in mate. I visit him at his home in Buenos Aires for a tasting.
I'm gonna do it in the way that my grandmother taught me how to do it.
He explains the ingredients and the equipment. The tea is called yerba mate. There's a metal straw, the bombilla. The cup itself is, perhaps confusingly, also called the mate.
We're gonna taste it. Remember this hot water. Be careful.
It's bitter.
It's bitter.
For the uninitiated, mate is perhaps best described as an acquired taste. But this tea is deeply rooted in the region's culture. Friends share it, drinking from the same cup.
It's from the indigenous that they used to share all the things. They share the knowledge, they share the money. It's part of the tradition that you are really rich if you have a lot of things to share.
Most Argentines are not feeling rich. The country is mired in one of its worst crises in decades. Experiences of hyperinflation in the late 1980s or the crash of 2001 still linger in the collective memory.
A poor country or rich country, in that case Argentina, the mate always going to be joining us.
In the context of Argentina's deepening economic and financial crisis, this year brought a shift in the country's economic relations with China, one of its main trade partners.
And in the recent past, renminbi is gaining more traction. In particular in Argentina, they signed a swap agreement, and we see that trading taking place between Argentina and China rather than being done in the US dollar. They use the renminbi, which is more efficient because they don't have to use a second currency to do that trade.
As well as trading in renminbi, Argentina also formally joined China's Belt and Road Initiative last year. It is the largest Latin American economy to do so to date. With closer economic ties, more Argentine products are reaching China, and that includes yerba mate. I travel to the northern provinces of Misiones and Corrientes to visit the cooperative Colonia Liebig that makes the #1 selling yerba mate, Playadito.
Lo que sucede es que en Argentina tiene un consumo de 280 millones de kilos al año para una producción de 300, algo más, digamos, ¿no? Para nosotros hoy representa el 2% del total de nuestras ventas. Playadito en Argentina hoy es la marca referente, es la #1, digamos, en ventas, y eso hace que sea una referencia para el mercado mundial, digamos, ¿no?
In recent years, this cooperative has begun exporting to the Chinese market.
Por contrario, en Argentina, que para el mate tradicional, el 95% o más de los argentinos toma el producto con palo, mientras que para el mercado chino fue siempre 100% hoja, porque ellos lo utilizan para preparar infusiones, digamos, como consumen el resto de sus tés.
Colonia Liebig was founded in 1924 by German, Ukrainian and Polish immigrants. Many of the cooperative's members are direct descendants of those families that migrated 100 years ago.
De ahí viene la historia de como un traspaso de generación en generación. Yo pertenezco a la cuarta generación. Mi bisabuelo fue uno de los inmigrantes que inició todo esto que es cooperativa, y nos toca a nosotros seguir, cumplir con todo ese legado que dejaron. La yerba mate no, es súper delicada, crece en un tipo de suelo, que son los suelos rojos.
Martin Conti is an agronomist at the cooperative.
Por eso justamente está en esta parte, Misiones, Corrientes, Brasil y Paraguay, que tienen el mismo, muy parecido el tipo de suelo, no crece en otro lugar del mundo.
He shows me their plant nursery and discusses how they are modernizing production.
El objetivo es producir aproximadamente 1,5 millones de plantines. Estas son bolsitas biodegradables. En un año más o menos comienza a desintegrarse y la planta sigue su ciclo normal. Permite no solamente bajar costos, sino que reducimos el uso de plástico drásticamente.
Once harvested, the leaves are processed in the secondary phase of production, overseen by Manuel Olivate.
Tapecado es un término guaraní, ¿sí? Quedó viejo, que es abrir los ojos, significa. Eso hace lo que hace que la hoja explote, es como una ampollita explota y ahí lo que hace es secarla, disecarla, ¿no? Mediante la explosión esa saca la humedad de la hoja. Fíjate el aroma que tiene. Está recién sapecada, ¿viste? Claro, claro. Acá como explotan las hojas que te decía, ¿viste?
Here they have perfected the process of making yerba mate, but this cooperative remains at the mercy of shifting climate patterns.
Tuvimos 3 sequías muy importantes, una sequía tremendamente severa, que nos generó mucho daño, sobre todo en plantaciones jóvenes, lo cual impactó mucho en las perspectivas que teníamos en producción.
The historic drought of 2023 decimated agricultural output across Argentina, affecting soy, corn and wheat crops. Estimates place the loss to the economy at around $20 billion. Yerba mate is not a major export crop, but it is a significant local industry, and consumers have come to expect a certain quality in the product.
Ahí, y lo que logramos ver es, hay parte verde, pero también hay parte que ya está tomando color, se está amarronando un poco más, digamos, que es lo que buscamos. Tenemos como definido parámetros sensoriales que hacen a cómo creemos nosotros que playadito debería hacerse, digamos, ¿no?
Sí, sensorial, subjetivo.
Subjetivo, o sea, claro. Como el vino, digamos, la yerba es así.
Playadito dominates the Argentine market, so the challenge here is how to expand their business. Production manager Fabio Crespo showed me the product they have developed for China.
Bueno, esto es lo que es yerba mate en saquito o mate cocido, conocido acá. Es un producto exclusivo para el mercado chino. Está escrito en chino el nombre del importador, el producto, los gramos que lleva. Inclusive ya nos piden tabla nutricional.
As well as its antioxidant properties and caffeine content, yerba mate is known for boosting energy.
Es una fuente de energía espectacular, digamos, ¿no? Que facilita todo el proceso digestivo y eso indudablemente que es muy importante para un deportista de alta competencia.
Playadito requires little of its own marketing. At the World Cup, they received the best possible free publicity. Lionel Messi and company travelled to Qatar armed with kilos of yerba mate, yet a photo on social media appeared to show they were taking a Uruguayan brand. The Argentine Football Association quickly confirmed they would also be taking nationally produced yerba with them, and that yerba was Playadito. The day after defeating France in the World Cup final, Messi posted a photo in bed with the trophy and his mate.
Y donde va el jugador argentino y lleva el mate, notamos que en el lugar donde están siempre empieza a aumentar, digamos, ¿no? los pedidos. Pasa con Messi ahora en el Inter de Miami, ¿no?
Que un deporte tan popular como el fútbol, que entendemos no hay otro, que los futbolistas de élite adopten el producto, digamos, como consumo, como una infusión prioritaria, es Ese es un agente de propaganda, digamos, de un buen mensaje.
From Argentina, we travel to Brazil, the region's most populated country, Latin America's largest economy and one of the world's most important producers of food. Inland from the vast metropolis of Sao Paulo, we came to see a project that is preserving biodiversity.
Boa tarde, pessoal! Tudo bem com vocês?
School children here are learning about the importance of bees.
Meu nome é Fernando Kenzer, eu sou biólogo, especialista em abelhas. Que a maioria dos alimentos que a gente consome depende um pouco ou muito das abelhas para conseguir ter uma boa produtividade. Então por isso que a gente precisa proteger bem essas abelhas para a gente sempre ter morangos bonitos igual esse na mesa.
These workshops are an integral part of Project Pollinate, an initiative to protect bees run by COFCO, China's largest food and agricultural company.
Sabe quais são as maiores dificuldades das abelhas? Encontrar lugar para morar. Então, quando ela termina de fazer a oviposição...
Fernando shows me these bee hotels that are designed to help solitary bees nest in urban areas. But it is not only urban growth that threatens bees. This region is a major producer of sugarcane for the global market, and several years ago that produced conflict.
Eu sou um produtor rural que mexo com abelha desde criança. Meu pai já mexia com abelha, meu avô também mexia com abelha, então é a terceira geração.
Mauricio Rodriguez is 63 years old. Beekeeping is his life. He told me how large-scale agribusiness almost led to him losing his livelihood.
Aí quando veio a aviação, como trabalha por cima, expandia muito o veneno, aí começou a matança. E a dificuldade era muita, morria, brigava, xinguei meio mundo, tive muita dificuldade. Então esse veneno é uma tragédia para as abelhas, mas agora está tendo um controle legal.
Beekeepers like Mauricio are now part of Project Pollinate, which aims to preserve bee colonies in this region.
Se não tiver abelha, 80% de tudo que a gente consome de frutas e legumes, a gente não estaria aqui, a gente não teria eles para consumir e continuar a nossa vida, a nossa trajetória aqui na Terra.
Mateus Tripoli oversees COFCO's Project Pollinate.
A gente teve um problema lá em 2016 e a gente teve um desafio de resolver esse problema de uma forma contínua e sustentável, de forma que a gente continuasse fazendo os nossos manejos, as nossas aplicações, de uma forma mais correta, mais eficiente e mais segura. Posteriormente, depois que a gente fez essa adequação, a gente foi buscar os apicultores ao entorno das nossas áreas, né? Então a gente começou a descobrir os apicultores, o Maurício, como vocês viram, entre mais de 50 apicultores que trabalham ao entorno das nossas lavouras.
E aqui veio o que eu precisava. Eu falei, eu preciso só que não mata minhas abelhas.
Mauricio takes me to see one of his beehives.
As abelhas é minha vida. Tudo que eu tenho hoje eu ganhei em cima da abelha. Então eu criei meus filhos, tenho um filho formado, minha filha formada em agronomia, tudo em cima da abelha.
We suit up and head in to see if the honey is ready to harvest.
Vamos lá? Vamos lá.
Deixa eu abrir essa aqui para ver como é que tá.
Isso que está fazendo aí?
É fumaça para acalmar elas.
Aham.
A fumaça é só para elas abaixar, porque elas respeitam a fumaça. Olha como é que tá puro mel. Está quase eu perculando, está quase pronto de tirar. Esse é mel silvestre, mas é cipó uva, ele dá um mel muito clarinho, chega a ser até transparente. Muito bonito o mel.
Essas abelhas elas têm uma autonomia de voo de 3 km, então elas se deslocam 1,5 km e retornam 1,5 km, isso em busca de alimento. Então a gente faz um buffer zone, dentro desse raio de 1,5 km do apiário, não acontece a aplicação de inseticidas químicos.
Inside the buffer zone, pilots fly drones to drop biopesticide to ensure productivity remains high in areas that are close to apiaries.
Esses apicultores informam eles onde tem uma nova caixa e aí nossa equipe aqui da COFCO vai até essa nova caixa, pega essa latitude e longitude e passa para nós do geoprocessamento. Então, todas as fazendas que ficam dentro desse raio de 1,5 km, nós não podemos fazer aplicação aérea.
Planes are then equipped with satellite location technology that automatically turns off sprays when they cross into protected areas.
Eu sou José Gabriel Sensoni, sou piloto agrícola há 17 anos. A gente mantém uma aplicação aí em torno de 2 a 5 metros de altura do topo da cultura e uma precisão aí de alinhamento em torno de 40 centímetros. Então, quer dizer, uma aplicação bem precisa.
We watched how they calibrate planes to ensure accuracy.
Tem um programa de treinamento aqui dentro da empresa, fazendo sempre reciclagens e fazendo melhorias e sempre revisando o que a gente já tem de tecnologia, que hoje é o que tem de mais novo no mercado, para poder mitigar essa falácia que tem em volta da aviação agrícola, de que a gente sofre com deriva de quilômetros e quilômetros. Então, quer dizer, a gente sempre tenta trabalhar e trazer as tecnologias para que seja mitigado ao máximo esse tipo de problema.
This project is widely viewed as a successful case study of sustainable agriculture.
Tem uma frase que geralmente a gente fala que o Brasil é o celeiro do mundo.
Abdias Machado oversees COFCO's sustainability projects across Latin America.
O Brasil é sim um país que tem capacidade de fornecer alimento para todo mundo, numa demanda crescente que a gente tem, com crises de segurança alimentar, de falta de alimento em algumas regiões do mundo. O que a gente sempre tem que fazer, sempre tem que ter em mente, é que a gente consegue fazer isso mantendo e preservando as coisas que a gente tem.
Local beekeepers say they saw an immediate impact from the use of buffer zones. Project Pollinate is now a model this company plans to replicate in different regions with different crops to protect biodiversity. Mauricio continues to produce honey at his farm in São Paulo state. We then travel north to Mexico with its pre-Hispanic heritage, its culture, and its vibrant yet complex megacity. Here I would see how transport in one of the largest cities in the world is going green. I meet Ernesto, one of the drivers for Grupo Modelo, the largest distributor of beer in Mexico City. This year, this company started making their deliveries using these Chinese-made electric trucks.
Todo ese tipo de camiones es algo súper. Es lo que le comentaba, o sea, ser amigables con el medio ambiente y con los vecinos. El ruido contamina, todo contamina, hasta nosotros contaminamos. Más que todo, como estamos céntricos, con los vecinos. Yo soy de Oriente, soy chilango. Somos chilangos.
A local through and through, Ernesto is upbeat about the difficulties of his job and life in such a large city.
Cada día es un nuevo reto, ¿no? Tener una buena cara y empatía hacia los demás, ¿no?
These trucks have a range of 300 kilometers and can go up to 3 days without needing to be charged.
Y estamos mudándonos a la nueva era, ¿no? Lo que ya está, dejar los fósiles, los combustibles fósiles, ¿no? Hoy en día nos damos cuenta de que ya está muy contaminado el aire y al poner un tipo de camión de estas circunstancias ayuda mucho a unas emisiones. Hemos llegado.
While Ernesto delivers his cargo, back at Grupo Modelo, I meet with Daniela Pérez.
Fue un poco ahí el cambio del mindset en cuanto al operar un camión a combustión a un camión eléctrico, pero creo que ha sido bueno la adaptación de ellos en cuanto justamente al tener este camión eléctrico con las ventajas que conlleva.
Grupo Modelo is a major player in the market, and the company's decision to transition to electric vehicles is significant. The company aims to have 15% of its fleet electric by 2025.
A nivel país se está avanzando en cuanto a la introducción de la electromovilidad, entonces creo que son varios las personas, tanto a nivel autoridades como a nivel empresarial, privado, que están comprometidos con esta introducción y creo que ha sido bastante aceptada por la población.
For Mexico's capital city, the transition to using electric vehicles was urgently needed.
In 1990, Mexico City was considered to be the most polluted city in the world.
Amidst the noise and bustle, it is hard to imagine why the Spanish conquistadores called this city the Venice of the Americas. Yet on the outskirts, there is a clue. Xochimilco is a popular tourist attraction. Day trippers hire these fluorescent-coloured boats called trajineras to float through the peaceful canals. I visited with the historian Patrick Johansson.
Xochimilco, que quiere decir en náhuatl lugar de sembradíos de flores. Y aquí tenemos la versión natural, digamos, de lo que sería la cultura mexicana, la cultura indígena.
Since moving to Mexico from France 5 decades ago, Johansson has now written over 20 books on Mexico's pre-colonial history.
Y tener la sensación de estar en este México prehispánico donde no había toda esta contaminación, todo ese ruido, todo eso, digamos, vivir con la naturaleza, que era realmente digamos, la filosofía de los antiguos mexicanos, era, digamos, vivir con la naturaleza, no de la naturaleza.
The waterways of Mexico City were still in use a century ago. Up until 1920, it was still possible to travel to the city centre via these canals. Yet a series of public works irrevocably changed the urban landscape.
Queda entonces aquí como una reliquia, ¿no? Xochimilco, realmente vemos que es para el turismo, bueno, todavía sí venden flores y todo eso, pero toda la movilidad es por transporte automóvil.
The city was transformed from the Venice of the Americas to a vast urban sprawl.
Big city, 21 million people living in this metropolitan area. Secondly, the Valley of Mexico is in a plateau, in a high plateau, about 2 kilometers high. And so there is less oxygen for combustion. The combustion is more inefficient in Mexico City than in other places. Increasing public transportation is slow and is very expensive. So we have had a lot of growth of cars.
At the Ministry of Environment, Alejandro Villegas says the city is expanding its electric-powered public transport network to tackle pollution.
Last figure we have is that if we consider all the public transportation in the metropolitan area, 68% of those trips are made in electric vehicles.
Providing electric-powered vehicles is just one example of how economic ties between Latin America and China are expanding.
Latin America is complementary to China. We have very strong commercial ties with China, and slowly but surely every country has been seeing the rise of China as their main trading partner. Of course, Mexico is the exception. It will continue to be the exception because we're so close to the US. But nevertheless, even in Mexico, you see more and more the influence of China.
Diego Spanaus is a member of the Mexico-China Chamber of Commerce. He explains Chinese companies are bringing plants to Mexico to take advantage of the North American Free Trade Agreement and this includes electric car production.
Yeah, let's go.
To find out more, I was invited to test drive the latest electric passenger cars entering the consumer market. These cars are made by BYD, the same Chinese company that supplied the trucks to Grupo Modelo.
The battery, it's distributed on the floor.
Pamela Torres discusses their new electric cars that boast ranges of up to 600 kilometers.
We launched the brand of passengers vehicles in March of this year, and we are very surprised about the response of the Mexican market, because they've been loving the technology, the innovation, all of the gadgets that the car has.
Torres says the electric vehicle market is highly competitive, and developing the necessary infrastructure for wider uptake of their cars remains a challenge.
This is a challenge, but we know that as soon as the Mexican market wants to adopt new vehicles of new energy, it's going to be easier to work all together, government, companies, and the private consumers to grow this market.
BYD now offers its clients a charger to install at home to promote their vehicles. The country's infrastructure is expanding and the market is changing. Across the city, I went to talk to the journalist and social media influencer, Fernanda Lara.
Ya están llegando empresas privadas de cargadores para llegar a hacer su negocio, lo cual me parece perfecto porque antes era una colaboración nada más entre el gobierno y las marcas que tenían autos eléctricos.
Lara is one of the younger generation of car-loving Mexicans.
Hay gente muy purista, me he considerado uno de ellos, ¿no? Gente muy purista que le gusta mucho el sonido de un motor, las sensaciones que te puede llegar a dar. Entonces también mucha gente es como, ay, qué aburrido, ahora todo va a ser eléctrico, ni siquiera van a hacer ruido.
Latin America still lags behind other regions in the green energy transition, but the arrival of many Chinese companies is propelling that transition.
Lo principal yo creo que sería el tiempo y que todos estemos dispuestos y aceptar la realidad de que pues, ya va a ser eléctrico.
Across this vast region, from the green energy transition to conservation projects and trade, Latin America and China are increasingly working together for economic growth and sustainable development.